Sin City Radio. We're seeking great podcast hosts and video bloggers. Do you have a good on-camera personality? You'll be amazed how some people are doing exactly what they love and making a lot of money. You could be next. Text podcast to 702-509-6452.
Welcome to Sin City Live. I'm Katerina Mesa, your host. And before we start, please don't forget to press the subscribe button and also to set up live notifications so that you will be the first one to know when our next episode comes out. So I'm here with the amazing Kaitlyn Taylor, and I'm actually going to let you introduce yourself.
Well, hi, my name is Kaitlyn Taylor. I'm 33 years young. I'm a girl mom. Love the color yellow. Long walks on the beach, you know.
That sounds like an amazing life. So, Kaitlyn, what kind of music do you do?
Whatever they'll let me do. That's kind of a loaded question. I do a lot of covers right now. I have a couple of originals I'm working on. I'm in a Southern rock country band. I have a more pop modern band in the works. And then I have some older stuff. I have some acoustic stuff. Just whatever you'll let me sing, I'll sing it.
You are what I call an NGA, a no genre artist. Yeah, but that's beautiful because that's really what music should be about, you know, about singing what your heart feels. And so that's really wonderful.
One of my favorite things to do, actually, is to convert covers to different genres that you wouldn't expect. Like one of my favorite songs to perform is Britney Spears' Toxic, but in a jazz version.
That is super cool.
So yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do, actually.
Do you have any events coming up or gigs that we can hear that?
Yeah, I'm pretty stinking busy, actually. I've got Mojave Moonshine, which is the Southern rock band. We have gigs this weekend at the Goldmine Tavern. There's a Water Street bar crawl going on to support domestic abuse awareness on Saturday. I believe that's the 11th. So I'll be there that evening. I have a Pahrump gig the night before. I'm going to be with Paul Gregory on the keys. In Boulder next Wednesday. I've got an acoustic gig on November 1st at Soul Belly Barbecue. It just kind of depends. I have all of my shows posted on my website, KaitlynTaylorSings.com. So, and they differentiate who I'm with and what it entails, so you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, you're really busy. That's really awesome that you're so busy.
I'm trying to be.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely try to make it to one of them at least.
Yeah. Paul's is a lot more interactive. We've got over 8 hours of live song selection on a QR code, so you can make requests and things like that. Or if you want something that's more, you know, podunk, Hotown, you know, you can come down to Mojave Moonshine.
So actually I have a question because you really do all sorts of music. So what would you say is your biggest inspiration in music? Or I guess something that has styled your original music?
You know, I guess the best answer I could give you for that would be that I really love ballads. I really like a slow song that can move you to tears. Even though it kind of sounds demented to say that, like, I love making people cry.
No, I get it.
But I do, you know, there's a connection there that's different than just getting a woot woot for a high note, you know. So I really love a song that touches your heart.
Yeah, that's really great. I feel like I'm definitely one of those people that likes to listen to music that, you know, oh, this is how I'm feeling. And then you start crying with it or you start laughing. So that's really great.
Yeah, but it's the kind of genre I can't really do a lot because it's not necessarily popular amongst crowds. You know, it's not a dancer. Yeah. So that's kind of something I reserve for myself at home.
That was actually going to be my next question, is how you are able to sing ballads all the time with crowds? Because I feel like, as you were saying,
you really can't.
They like all the fun stuff.
Yeah, I limit maybe 1 or 2 ballads a show.
Oh, okay.
So
your original music, would you say it's more like ballads? Is it more a mix of things? Basically what your heart's feeling?
So my first original song that I fully wrote just a few months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always written lyrics. I've always been a poet, especially in school. But my first like real original song where I can tell you the key, I can tell you the arrangement and things like that. That one is, I'd like to say it's more folk. Something very like stripped down Miranda Lambert kind of song, like House That Built Me. I don't know if you know that song, but
I do.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a stripped down acoustic, and that's kind of the vibe that we're going with my producer. And then I wrote another song just 2 days ago, and that one is still in early stages, but I wrote like 4 verses and 3 alternate choruses in one night, and it was basically just inspired by the band I'm in. I wanted to have like a party anthem, Gretchen Wilson, you know, shot of whiskey type of song.
Yeah.
So I did that 2 days ago, but that's still in the process.
Okay. Do you happen to have anything where we can find your music, or is it still just a work in progress?
Yeah, so KaitlynTaylorSings.com has all of it. It's got all of my social medias, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. I also created a YouTube channel for Mojave Moonshine Band, which has collaborated with me, so I get alerts. So you can find it that way. I have stuff with Paul, with Chris, etc. on there, some older stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where you're going to find most of my music. I'm not streaming anywhere yet. I'm still in early production stages with my original music, so that is probably the best bet.
Okay. What would you say is the hardest thing that you've had to do in terms of your musical career? Have there been any obstacles?
I guess and I'll probably answer other questions in answering this question, so I'll try to be brief, but probably just overcoming fear and rejection and worrying about not being a size 2.
Yeah.
What could happen, what couldn't happen. Something that took a long time for me to acknowledge was one of my greatest fears wasn't what could go wrong, but what could go right. What if I actually make it? Then what? And that was a lot scarier for me.
Yeah, it's really relatable. I feel like for me, it was stage fright. Like going up there and singing, especially talking.
Yeah, the commentary, no dead air, that's the hard part for me, is making that personality shine. I can sing till the cows come home, but when I have to do small talk or like get to know the audience members, that's hard for me.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. So many questions and mind blanking. But you know, I think that you're an amazing person. You know,
ditto.
I know about you. And I think you're very inspiring, and I can't wait to hear your music. I can't wait to see what beauty you bring into this world.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Is there any advice you'd want to give to somebody who's just starting out in this career?
Well, I've kind of gotten really good about uber support in terms of people that I meet. I really like to invite people and give them a chance, bring them up on stage if they come to my show, because this business is all about egos, and it's all about playing the game. And when you're somebody that has, you know, a kind or gentle heart, or someone that's more reserved like you and I, it's hard to recognize when to play the game and when to be honest and when to, you know, I don't want to say be dishonest, but shine the light on the more positives, you know, like not being honest about our struggles and things like that, and being that powerhouse. And especially, you know, at least with country music, it's a very male-dominated genre. And so we kind of have to be strong and fierce and all of those things. So, yeah, I guess my best advice would be to just be yourself, be confident, and play the game.
It's funny because you're saying how I feel like, well, personally, I feel like country music is a very storytelling genre.
Mm-hmm.
And you're basically saying women can't do that. We have to be fierce all the time and be playing the game.
Well, I mean, if you think of country music and you look at the lyrics and you look at the history and the music, there's no, hell hath no fury than a female country artist. It's all about getting that man back for cheating. It's always about revenge. It's always about being on top, sticking that heel in, you know.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. You know, of course there's vulnerability and stuff like that, but it's usually surrounding a man and being in love with said man. Men can sing about the dog and the truck and, you know, pander.
I love that song.
Exactly. But women don't usually have those things.
Yeah.
And when they do, it's not necessarily as successful, I think.
That's a really interesting point. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I never really thought about it. You know, I just, you know, sing along. I listen to it when I'm driving the car, and I never really thought about it. It's kind of like movies. I feel like they always say, oh, all women do is talk about men or you know, damsel in distress. So it's
And it's the same way without music, you know, in womanhood and motherhood, and how moms are expected to be strong for the entire family. And they'll run and do 10 different errands and multitask, and they'll be up all day and cleaning dishes and doing diapers, and they take the kid out to the park with the father who just got home, and, well, he's such a great dad. He gets all the praise, right? He's so hands-on. He's so special. Man, you're so lucky to have such a great father in your life. And we don't really get acknowledged for that kind of thing. You know, women are expected to be strong. And in the music industry, they're expected to kind of be quiet. You know, Chappell Roan just got kind of ousted and went viral for a minute because she complained about how all of her friends her age are unhappy if they have kids. And she offended a bunch of people about how children are miracles. But the truth is, if we talked more about how motherhood kind of sucks a lot of the time, I think we'd have a lot happier mothers.
Yeah. I'm a new mom, so this is very relatable for me. You know, I feel I'm very grateful. I love my son. I'm so grateful I had him. But I feel like there was never a moment where, for example, my grandmother or my mother sat me down and was like, look, this is what motherhood's about. This is what it means to have a child. And this is what the rest of your life is going to be like.
Exactly. And that's what none of us were prepared for, at least in my millennial generation.
Yeah.
None of us were prepared necessarily. You know, my mom was pushing out little, so when am I getting grandbabies hints since I was 18 years old, you know? And she gave up singing. She was a singer before me, and she gave it all up to be a mom. And so I kind of thought that was what you were supposed to do. And that was all she ever talked about, was what blessings we were and how she has no regrets. And, you know, you learn that, like, you may not have any regrets, and you may be happy with where you're at, and you may love your children. But you can also realize how much of a lie it kind of was. You know, you can have both. You can be both yearning for more purpose and be grateful for what you have already.
There were days where we thought we wouldn't make it out, but we stuck it out. Today's our day. Today's our day. There were nights we would fight, no end in sight, nothing was right. Tonight's our night. Tonight's our night. I'll fight for you until this life is over. There's no giving up here.
ADD kicking in.
Right?
Yeah. How do you find that balance, you know, between being a mom and having such a busy singing career?
Well, you know, I don't really know that I can necessarily give that proper relatable advice because I have special needs kids. My 9-year-old is autistic, ADHD, and she's an ABA. She has an in-home therapist 20 hours a week.
Wow. Okay.
So it took us about 3 years on the wait list to get that. So that helps a lot, to have another adult in the house, to help her with homework, to help her regulate, to teach her some tools in terms of behavior that I'm not necessarily an expert in. And my youngest was harder. My 6-year-old, she was a clinger, like stage 5 all the way. But, you know, you just kind of have to keep doing it. When I would first leave her at 3, 4 years old, it was torture. I couldn't stand it. I cried every time. But now, she won't even look up from her tablet to say goodbye to me. So, you know, and that's kids for you. They're resilient. So I just, you know, I have a lot of small jobs that I do, and I do a lot of multitasking. I think we spoke about it earlier, you and I, off the record, but that music is very much entrepreneurship. It's running your own business. It's just a little different because it's more spotlighty. It's more, you have to kind of care what people think more than maybe just opening a brick and mortar somewhere. So that's really all it is. It's just time management and organizing and, you know, getting stuff done while you're doing other stuff.
Mm-hmm. That is super helpful for me because right now I'm in that stage where every time I'm leaving, he's like, Mama, and he starts crying and it breaks my heart. And then I feel terrible. I feel terrible leaving him. But as you're saying, you know, this is our business. This is what we do, you know, and we have to go out and sing anyways, you know, because we love it. It's no different than going to a 9 to 5 and saying goodbye to our kid, you know, except for our hours are usually not 9-hour shifts. And or late at night.
Well, my gigs are late at night usually, but that's kind of the upside for me is they're in bed, you know, when I get on stage. So I just have to worry about a sitter on the couch. I don't have to really worry about losing time, right?
You don't lose that time with them.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, and I'm sure some mothers will agree but won't admit it, not having time with your kids can also be a blessing. Getting a break from your children, giving yourself a chance to miss them, giving them a chance to miss you. For my oldest especially, you know, she has a defiance, they call it pathological demand avoidance, which is basically like ODD. She's very defiant instinctually. And it helps our relationship tremendously to have another adult tell her what to do. Because if I'm doing it, if I'm her teacher, her coach, her best friend, her mother, and her, you know, all these other things, I become the drill sergeant, and I'm no longer her safe space. So it's good to get away from your kids sometimes, at least in my experience.
I think you're absolutely right. I remember when I first had my son, and my mom kind of told me the same thing, and I was like, what are you talking about? But now as I'm living it, I'm realizing that you really do need, even if it's just an hour, you know, to shower alone, go to the bathroom alone, like all those things, you know.
And that's something too that mothers don't really know specifics on is self-care doesn't mean hygiene maintenance. Taking a hot shower can do so much for your soul, yes, but that shouldn't count. Getting groceries by yourself is a miracle, but it should not count. Self-care is so much more than the basic tasks that every human being should have the right to do. So, you know, I think moms kind of forget that, and that's where they get lost in that loop. This is my self-care. Music is my self-care.
Yeah. Same for me. Mm-hmm. It's becoming my self-care. I know that you had mentioned about how one of your original songs is about motherhood.
Yes, it is. It's actually pretty on the nose about what we were talking about how motherhood is kind of a scam, for lack of a better word, about how, you know, our generation was groomed to believe that it's the best thing ever without showing us any of the nitty-gritty, and now we're standing out here waiting for a hurricane that we have no idea how to prepare for. So my song is from the perspective of said mother who is afraid of dying and afraid of growing old but can't wait to grow up. And how she, you know, she's rushing having children. She's rushing to that role before she knows that she's lost in, you know, her coffee cup, and she doesn't know where time has gone, and she knows she has to be strong, and she's trying to hold it all together, and she just wants somebody there to tell her it's okay. And by the end of the song, it basically reverts perspective to her telling her children. It's hard to explain. I'll quote it real quick. So it starts out as she is a true love scene. She's the lyrics in a song, right? Then it changes to her speaking to her children. You are the lyrics in a song. You are the light. You are the miracle, whatever it is. And how she explains to them, you can only be so young for so long, and to make sure all your needs are met before you take on somebody else's. You know, she doesn't want the same for her children.
Yeah. I really can't wait for that to come out and for like all us women and girls to be hearing it, because it kind of fills the they've never heard about this, you know, and that's an easy way for it to access a ton of little girls and women and teenagers, and so they're able to hear the things that we never got to hear. So
right, and especially for the little girls like me who were parentified, who were forced to grow up too fast, you know, because of their circumstance.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, I felt kind of a gap. I was like 20 going on 45, and I just didn't know what I was supposed to do with my life. My 9 to 5 gave me no purpose. Singing was cool, but it wasn't getting very far. I was more impatient and more fearful of like failure then. I also didn't take any bull by the horns back then in my 20s. I was very much hired, like I was the singer in someone else's band, as opposed to now where I'm in control of my own projects. So when I gave up on that, I was like twiddling my thumbs, like, when am I going to be a mom? Because apparently that's all I'm good at. That's all I've known. And we have to slow down and give ourselves a chance to find that there's more to it than that. And I'm not saying that motherhood isn't beautiful, because it is. Yeah. It's just a lot of crap. It's 95% exhaustion and fear and worry and mundane, repetitive behaviors, and then a little slice of heaven in between. And people just need to be more aware of that.
Thank you. Yeah, you're kind of reminding me of the scene. I forgot the name of the movie where the guy's explaining what parenthood is like, and he's like, it's a lot of awful, and then it's really great, and then they stick out their hand, and there's a piece of stuff in your hand.
Basically.
So I'm thank you for talking to me about that. You know, especially I hope, you know, it helps some other women out there.
Me too.
Certainly has helped me talking to you about it. You know, that
Good.
I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this mishmash of emotions and trying to figure things out.
I'm going to use that word from now on.
And I'm going to steal yours. Your motherhood is a scam. I love that.
It's a good scam.
It's a good scam.
But it's a scam.
Well, back to your music.
Yes.
Because this is what we're here for, to talk about your music and how wonderful you are. So you were telling me about all your inspirations in life. Well, for music, in terms of music. Maybe not for life, but in terms of your music, what would you say has been the most impactful performance you've ever done? Maybe for you or for an audience member?
I'll give you two.
Okay.
One, because we talked about it already, about ballads. I
Right.
sang Pink, Who Knew, at Rockin' Grapes. And one of the servers there that I know very well, she lost her father a couple years back, and I guess that song is like her dedication to him. And like I talked about earlier about how I like to make people cry. She did cry. And she came up to me afterward, and we had a really long conversation after that. And it's kind of one of those relationships now where we have this equal love for each other without saying anything. You know, we kind of look each other in the face and just kind of nod, grin, smile. We respect each other. We understand each other in like a deeper way than I would with like an average acquaintance. And then the second one, for more selfish reasons, the Goldmine Tavern, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think. The audience was just growing and growing and growing throughout the night, and I sang Piece of My Heart from Janis Joplin, and I did the scream that she does, the wah, take it, right? And that's not my background. Rock has been my hardest genre to adapt to. I grew up with country. I love ballads. You know, I love really pure kind of vocals, and so I've always been too pretty for rock. And I nailed that scream. And when I reviewed the footage that day, hearing the audience screaming for me.
Yeah.
And then hearing myself on the stage giggling because I was like blushing and I couldn't take it. That was probably like the most life altering for me. I've never been so proud of myself before.
That sounds like an amazing feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You had also mentioned before about how you had written a song in a couple verses out of nowhere. So I kind of wanted to know what your process is like when you're writing music.
It's always lyrics first.
Okay.
It starts with like a basic idea. Sometimes now that we're all spoiled with AI, sometimes I will brainstorm with ChatGPT. Which is really funny because it's more like me correcting it the whole time. I'll be like, I want a song that resembles this. And it'll give me like the most basic elementary rhyming scheme. And I'm like, I like this better. And I just correct it. So that's kind of how that started a couple days ago. It started out literally, there's a TikTok trend that's been on and off on my For You page for months now about how the devil couldn't reach me. It says like the devil couldn't reach me, and then you swipe and it gives like a life-altering moment. And I wanted to kind of make a play on words on that. And so I started my ChatGPT up and said, I want a song about the devil couldn't reach me, but I sure do love to sin. And that's how that started. And it turned into like a whole anthem, very, going to the bar looking for trouble, finding trouble type of song. And again, it was very specifically inspired by the band that I joined just a few weeks ago, Mojave Moonshine. So it's got more grit than the other original. The other original song is more personal. It's something that I sing to my daughters in a sense.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kaitlyn, so much for being here. I really appreciate you coming out and sharing, and opening up your heart to us. It's really great to talk to you.
Well, like I said, I'm here to support. I want to be the biggest cheerleader of anybody that wants to come into the music industry, because there aren't a lot of cheerleaders out there, and there's a lot of people that like to keep their tips and tricks close to their heart. So yeah, and whenever you need me, I'm here.
And I appreciate that, and I'm here for you too. I'll also be your cheerleader.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for watching Sin City After Dark. I'm Katerina. This is Kaitlyn Taylor. And thank you for being a part of our musical family. If you would like to be part of the show, please send us your EPK and we will reach out to you, and we're excited to meet you. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful night.
Beep.